by Rainbow, which is listed in London. And that is also funding the go-ahead for this, which has two big points. It is environmentally very good because they clear up, waste dumps, but also it's very low cost because you don't have to go underground. And they've recognized this, and their total investment to date is over $100 million. So I think maybe the South Africans realize that, other people are watching this very carefully. Perhaps we should also spot what's available in waste.
Indeed. The superior manner in which South Africa's mining industry engages with communities is now being recognized globally, Martin.
It's fantastic that you listen into an annual general meeting of a mining company taking place in Perth, Western Australia. And the biggest point that the chairperson makes to all the Australian shareholders is that, community engagement and local development has become so important in mining today. He said, but, in Australia, we're behind. If you look at who is really ahead in community engagement and local development, it is South Africa. And, they point to South Africa having started this in 1994. And that is such an important point today in mining investment. And I think it should be recognized that we have done pretty well when it comes to community engagement and local development by the mining sector.
And finally, Martin, South African mining this week once again took another big step towards generating its own clean, green electricity.
Yes, these mining companies, they're under quite a bit of pressure to make sure that the energy they use is accepted by the world, that it's renewable, that it's clean and green. Otherwise, they could get penalized. Their products could have tariffs imposed on them. So they're moving very, very fast into this. And you see Sibanye-Stillwater this week announcing that they've almost reached a point of 45% of the energy that they will be putting in is now going to be green very soon, because there was a financial close and the start of construction of a very big wind project in the Western Cape, which will give clean energy to the Sibanye Group with the help of Eskom, because they wheel it, what they call they wheel. And then there's a second one which involves our good South African sun, and that is also being clinched with a company called Solar, and they're going to do the same thing. They're going to, from the Free State, wheel the energy in, which means they use the grid to put the clean sun energy into our transmission grid, and then they use it on their mines. And they've got platinum group metal mines, gold mines, and they're also going into a lot of green metals, Sibanye-Stillwater.
Well, Martin, we leave it there. Thanks so much, Martin Creamer. We'll be back with another edition of At the Coalface, same time next Friday. And that's all we have time for. Thanks so much, everybody, for engaging, for tuning in, and to the production team for putting it together, making sure it went out loud and clear. We'll be back with you next week, and take care until then. It is 1 o'clock and time for the latest news with Eva Chipa.
Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
Thanks, Akina. Top stories at 1. NUMSA verifying details on Bakobong's sit-in, and Mashatile calls for ethical professionals in the fight against corruption. Good afternoon. I'm Eva Chipa. Labour Union NUMSA says it is still trying to verify if any of its members are being held against their will at the Bakobong platinum mine in the northwest. More than 200 mine workers have been staging a sit-in in an underground since Wednesday morning. NUMSA says that since the sit-in began, it has not been in contact with any of its members, and only about 24 workers have since resurfaced because some have chronic conditions. Workers are demanding a salary increase and an end to the planned retrenchment of 500 employees. The NUMSA representative, Enoch Manyoni, says they have submitted a list of their members' names to the mine management.
We are very disturbed because we are having more than 100 members that are working for the same company, and the majority here is NUM. And you that they are having more than 700 workers, so we are having more than 100 members. So our concern, we are not sure, or we are not having information whether our members are underground at their own will, or they are forced, or they are participating in support of the strike.
The Deputy President, Paul Mashatile, says creating an ethical public service with honest professionals would help government in its fight against corruption. He was speaking at the commemoration of the International Day of Anti-Corruption at UNISA in Pretoria. The university, the Public Service Commission, and the Office of the United Nations in South Africa hosted the one-day gathering. Mashatile says it is important for government to continue its fight against corruption.
The ongoing battle against corruption necessitates strategic collaboration across several sectors, including government, labor, civil society, academia, and business. Building an efficient, capable, and ethical state free of corruption remains our top priority. This means that the public service must be staffed by men and women who are professional, who are skilled, who are selfless, and who are honest.
In other news, the SACP General Secretary, Solima Baila, says it's painful to see someone who has given his all for the liberation of South Africa leave the ANC. He was reacting to the ANC's Veterans League Deputy President Mavuso Msimang's resignation from the party. Msimang attributed his resignation earlier this week to what he termed systemic corruption in the ANC. Mabaila says he suspects that, like other members of the organization, Msimang has been feeling despondent for a long time.
What we are not happy about, beyond just internal problems, is the state of South African state and the state of South African economy. If you go deeper into it, you'll find the real cause of the many things that is lamenting about. Put corruption on the side, apart from the issue that is raising. Fundamental, all the other issues are issues of the crisis of social reproduction of the capitalist system that has intensified, increased, consolidated under a democratic dispensation. And remember that capitalism doesn't serve the people, it serves the interest of business.
And moving to international news, Hamas says an Israeli soldier who had been held hostage in Gaza has been killed in a clash between its fighters and the Israeli special forces. In the occupied West Bank, the Palestinian Health Ministry says 6 Palestinians have been killed by the Israeli forces in an operation at a refugee camp. The BBC's Yolanda Nell reports.
Israel's military has said it remains a priority for it to free more than 130 hostages still held captive in Gaza. It's not commented on the claims by Hamas. Hamas says its fighters found an Israeli Special Forces unit mounting a rescue attempt and attacked it, killing and wounding several soldiers. It names the hostage it says was also killed. In a separate development, witnesses say a boy of 14 was among those killed in an overnight Israeli raid on a refugee camp in the northern West Bank. The Israeli military says it's checking the report. The West Bank has seen a surge in violence since the war in Gaza began.
And lastly, the COP28 ministerial meeting is underway at the climate conference in Dubai. The ministers are discussing a draft text as the issues of phasing out fossil fuels and financing are some of the sticking points. The UN Executive Secretary on Climate Change, Simon Style, has called on delegates to find common ground on important issues.
Today, we have a starting text that is a mixture of posturing and lowest common denominator positions. We have a week left. The challenge now is to sort the wheat from the chaff. There are low, middle, and high options on many issues. If we want to save lives now and keep the 1.5 goal within reach, the highest ambition outcomes must stay front and centre.
Top story for this hour, the Labour Union NUMSA says it's still trying to verify if any of its members are being held against their will at the Bakubong Platinum Mine in the northwest. I'll be back at the bottom of the hour. For SAFM News, I'm Eva Chipa.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
Get your payments done with the utmost security and convenience when you purchase a TV license now. With our new secure payment systems with a one-time PIN, OTP feature, and the choice of receiving your OTP via SMS or email, you can ensure prompt and secure payments. The additional use of CAPTCHA will protect you against spam and automated data attractions. With TV licenses, you can enjoy watching all your favorite shows or movies that matter to you. Get yours today. Visit www.tvlic.co.za.
Sekhukhune United target a win in their own backyard against Stade Malien FC. Meanwhile, the Malian side refused to travel back home empty-handed. This is the CAF Confederation Cup Group D clash. Catch Sekhukhune United versus Stade Malien FC on Sunday 10 December at 8:30 p.m. live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
I've seen some things, I've seen some color. I've seen the lights of disco nights and star-crossed lovers. I've seen life live, I've seen them wasted. So I'm hanging on to every bite I've tasted. These are the things that make us stronger. These are the dreams that make us rise each day. We grow the most in pain, it always makes me wonder why we'd ever want to live another way. I see your color shine in synergy, my friend. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shine in synergy, my friend. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shine in synergy, my friend. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shine in synergy, my friend. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I've done some things, I've seen some places, and I'm living for the look upon their faces. I see them dance, I hear them sing, and every moment is a blessing and a dream. These are the things that make us stronger. These are the dreams that make us rise each day. We grow the most in pain, it always makes me wonder why we'd ever want to live another way. I see your color shine in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shine in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shine in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shine in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigned, so we can start again. I see your color shining in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigning, so we can start again. I see your color shining in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigning, so we can start again. I see your color shining in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigning, so we can start again. I see your color shining in synergy, my friends. The stars are realigning, so we can start again.
It is Tamara Day. DJ Zinhle featuring Tamara Day with Colors. Tamara was here, I think, 2 Saturdays ago. She was on the Jet Set Breakfast with Michelle Constant, having a catch-up conversation. Always a riot, that one. I watched parts of the interview on the streaming feed. always a riot, always a good time as well. It is a Friday as we wrap up the week on the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. Good afternoon to you. Hope you are having a good day thus far. It's a beautiful day. It's a glorious summer day, and we're taking things nice and easy. We are slowly entering our sort of slow down Kekelezaring December vibes here, taking things just, nice and chilled and mellow. And today, because it is Friday, we're focusing on all things arts and culture. I don't know how we're going to get through the first 40 minutes of the show. I don't know how, but we're going to try. Because anytime I've ever been in conversation with him, there's nothing sensible that comes out of his mouth. Sorry?
What are you saying about me? There's nothing sensible that I say.
Nothing sensible that comes out of his mouth.
We'll try. Today I want to be sensible.
We shall try.
This is SAFM. We need to be serious. And
yes.
Talk about serious things. You guys have a view.
Says the guy who looks at jacaranda trees all day, every day. No, actually, you don't have a view. You have a view of a petrol station.
How you project? You have a petrol station.
It is the voice of Skumbuzo, a.k.a. Skumba Hlophe, joining me today on the show. And then we're also going to be catching up with the folks from the Nelson Mandela Foundation a little bit because, of course, you do know it is the 10th anniversary since his passing. We're also going to be looking at elite risk management. And looking at some of the current and future trends in as far as high net worth markets are concerned, particularly in 2024. And then on the other side of this, we have a conversation around illustration. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm happy.
Yeah, thank you for coming through.
Yeah, I was just passing by. I'm like, how come Bridget has a job?
Since you last saw her.
And we go say hi.
And then we make you walk up the steps.
Yeah, no, it's a norm. It's what you guys go through. It's fine. It's okay. The lifts are not working. The water is expired.
What?
Everything is just okay. We will work with what we have.
At least we give you bottled water and a view.
Fun. But I'm good, man. I'm in a good space and I'm happy.
That's good.
Yeah.
2023 has been good to you?
Absolutely amazing, Joe.
Yeah.
I think one of my best years when it comes to what I do, being part of the Masked Singer, that is on SABC 3 and SABC 1. Shot a movie at Netflix coming out in February. Currently doing my tour that I'm touring all across the country. Doing Carnival City tomorrow, gonna go to Durban. And on the 10th of February, gonna do Cape Town, gonna do East London and everything else. So it's been quite amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you always booked and busy, but it sounds like
I'm
this
not
year...
booked and busy. I book myself. No, I'm serious.
I know.
I book myself. So this is what I did. I didn't want to wait for people to book me. Because if they don't book me, that means I'm going to span.
Yeah.
So let me create my own jobs, So I have my own calendar. So if no one calls me and says, yes, Kumba, we're doing this and this, it's okay. I still have something to do. So I have my shows. I booked every month. I know I'm somewhere doing something.
Yeah. And you've always been like that, though, Skumbuzo, because I caught a conversation. I think you were talking to David downstairs for his podcast.
Sure.
And you were talking about how when literally you took 5 minutes and you've turned it into a lifetime of a career.
Not even 5, 2. 2 minutes. And it's I don't know, but maybe it's a full circle, you guys that are educated. You know, but you give me 2 minutes, I will convert that into something more meaningful. And then that space, it's like doing the movie that we did with David Cow, Taxi Ride.
Yeah.
We were supposed to be extras, literally extras, stand here, BQ marshals, make sure people get into the taxi.
Yeah.
We tend that to have lines on the movie, not only having lines, be on the cover of the DVD. Now they can't do season 2 without us. Now we are leads on season 2. Same with radio. Got 2 minutes to do stand up. Not even stand up, just tell a few jokes. I converted that into an hour, convert that into the whole 3 hours. 10 years later, I'm still there.
We love it.
It's 10 years later.
Is it 10 years
it's
with you
10
at Kaya?
full years.
Wow.
How crazy is that?
Wow, time flies, huh?
It's 10 years.
So when you reflect back on that 10 years, we are in conversation with a comedian, businessman and entrepreneur. Uskumba Hlope is joining me today. 061-410-4107. That is our WhatsApp line, by the way, if you'd like to send through a voice note. If you'd like to be in conversation with him, 086-000-2032. It's 10 years of you on radio.
10 years on radio.
Let's reflect back on that. How has that journey been from day one to where it's at now?
It's 10 years on Kaya, but 16 years on radio.
Before then, where were you?
I was working up. This is the thing about me. You guys know me now, like Kaya and all the things that I'm doing. I've been doing this thing, I started doing radio, Voice of Tembisa.
Oh.
Back then. So my stand-up career and my radio career started almost the same time.
Yeah.
So both of them are 16 because my daughter is 16.
Hi.
Yeah. So when when I lost my son, I wouldn't say I would have started by then, but I was still trying to figure out, do I really want to do this thing? But when my daughter was born, I knew, okay, now I need to do this thing. So my daughter just turned 16, so it's been 16 years of doing radio and stand-up comedy.
Wow.
And the journey has been amazing.
Wow.
Great.
And working with Bob, you've reflected on this a little bit before in the past because, I mean, that's birth by fire. They say, like, literally birth by fire. You went in at the deep end.
Basically. And you know, when you're like me, I don't want to, you know, people like you, Bridget, always want to make us feel like this we're guys, so we are at a disadvantaged because you guys speak English and I'm a kind of swang. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Wow, can't believe it. You can't believe what? So when we get opportunities, Tina, as Dali, like we don't play. Like there's no time to play. I mean, if I would come and work at SAFM, all of you guys need to be scared, yeah?
Uh-huh.
You need to be scared because I'm going to come with fire, I mean.
Yeah.
I'm going to come and sound like, we here. So, would you make it? Yeah. The listeners are like, hey, what? Yay. How you guys doing? I'm that guy. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh,
so opportunity in Tola, I shake it. I don't just, I don't want to fit in. I take over.
But, I mean, that's the secret to success. But let's hold that thought for a little bit. Let's take a break. Skumbuzo, a.k.a. Kumba Hlope, is joining me in studio today. It's just gone 20 past 1 o'clock. We'll come back on the other side of this.
Akwele.
Akwele.
Akweli.
Akwela.
Akwele.
Akwili.
Akwele.
Akwela. No matter how you say it, one thing's for sure, Aquele has been your trusted natural spring water and delicious flavored sparkling drink for 25 years. Celebrating 25 years of refreshment and joy. Thank you, Mzansi, for your support and making us your favorite water brand. Aquele, spreading joy for 25 years.
Mamelodi Sundowns and Egyptian outfit Pyramids FC have collected maximum points in their Group A opening matches. They now tackle each other in search of victory. Masandawana want to ensure their visitors walk away without any joy, but Pyramids FC are confident they will upset the 2016 champs. This is the CAF Champions League. Roerkop battles it out with East Cairo. Experience the African flavor of the beautiful game. Mamelodi Sundowns FC versus Pyramids FC on Sunday 10 December at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4 and SABC 1. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
It is the full circle. We're hanging out with this Kumba. By the way, you can catch us. We are live streaming every single day. So we're live streaming this show. If you're on YouTube or any of the social media platforms, you're more than welcome to log in there. So you can see him in Technicolor at SAFM Radio everywhere on X. That is formerly known as Twitter, as well as Instagram, and of course YouTube. Hanging out with the award-winning, self-made South African comedian and businessman Skumba Hlope. I feel like we have to put it out there because, you know, you lead with it, how you are self-made. Tell me this, though. How do you then feel? And I hardly speak to Skumba because he doesn't give anyone his phone number. How do you feel when you then hear people go on, and you'll know who I'm talking about. You then hear other comedians go on and go on conversations on podcasts and talk about how they were there for you at the beginning when you started out, but you have not stepped up and you have not opened doors for them when they needed you to.
Who's that?
Mo.
Next question.
Okay.
Sure. next question. I'm busy, Bridget. Like I'm busy. Like yes, I would give you an answer. Ne? It will be an unfair answer.
Yeah.
It will be an answer like I'm trying to protect something that there's nothing to protect. And I think I know where I stand. I think he knows where I stand. I think if he wants to talk to me, he'll give me a call.
He knows where to find you.
Yeah, and if he wants to apologize, he will go to where he started and do that. But I don't really want to be in conversation. It's not worth my time and my energy. I'm in a good space, man. I mean, mentally and emotionally, and yeah.
I get you.
Because if you can go deep, I promise you, it won't end well. Not like it won't.
No?
So I see there's one side of the story. It's like the Bible. Everyone thinks one Bible. Have you ever read the other book? No. Aha! And the day you read it, you're like, oh man, shoot him on Apostle Paul Berasile as. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's heads and tail. So everyone is still on the heads.
Okay,
and
no.
It's fine.
No. We had to ask Nje just because you are here. I thought let me just ask. All right. Okay, we bet that one and we move along quite swiftly from that. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call if you'd like to be in conversation with Skumba. We are live streaming if you want to check him out on our YouTube platform as well, of course, as all of our social media platforms. For you doing this, the business of comedy, I can imagine that as much as it looks like fun and it looks like easy, well, it looks like it could be easy, but it's ultimately not, right? Because it is a business and you are in the business of wearing all the hats for yourself because you are the conglomerate. How have you figured that out?
You know, when people say, yeah, we'll let's go. We'll have a plan while we are going.
Okay.
I think I took that approach. I didn't know what the future had for me. I didn't have a plan to say, okay, I know which in the next 3 years this will be. All I know right now is that I'm funny, and that I know. It's in me, and that can take me anywhere I want to go. Can open any other door. Like with radio. I'm doing radio because of stand-up comedy. I'm doing movies because of stand-up comedy. I'm doing presenting on TV because of stand-up comedy. So everything that I do, it's all about my comedy. So I think I need to take care of that. If I take care of that, that takes care of everything. Being a father, having a home, taking kids to school, work, and all these things are taken care of by jokes. So if I don't take care of those jokes, what happens then? Everything starts falling apart.
But now I wonder, when you are in this moment now, when you're at the apex, right? Because people say it's easy.
Am I?
Well, Angaz, do you think you are?
Not yet. Far from it.
Is it? When would you think you are at the apex?
I don't think I will reach that level. Because if I reach that level, that means that's the end. You understand what I'm saying? So if I say, okay, all right, now I'm on national radio station. I think no. What about international? So with where I am with my stand-up right now, it's just the beginning of or maybe I'm halfway there. I don't know where I am, but all I know is that I'm far from being at the top. I'm so far from it. There's a lot I need to do. There's a lot that I need to achieve. I still haven't done the biggest venue in South Africa. I'm still doing Carnival City, which is about 3,000 seats. Yeah, there's still the Sunbed, that is 8,000.
Why are you scared of that, by the way?
Not yet. Not yet.
Anela put you on blast on that. And I support her drive to get you to do that.
You and Anela should do stand-up.
Why are you scared of it?
I'm not scared per se, but I think I need to be ready. It's not about putting people in one room and then they're there and then like, sure, Yeah, okay. No, they are here. Why are they there? I need to give people a reason to drive all the way to Sunbed. For now, I am good where I am. I am taking things in a pace, and I don't like to do things to prove a point. I can do it, but it will be me proving a point. Sunbed, but I won't be ready mentally, and I know for a fact that my jokes won't hit home. People will be walking out like, all right, why were you here?
Mm-hmm.
You know, last time I went to watch Boys to Men, a Sunbed Arena, as a normal human being.
Okay.
No security, no backstage. What? Just me buying tickets, entering and walking through there. I have so much respect for people that come and watch my shows.
Mm.
The amount of time you spend just to sit down and watch a show, and the amount of time that you spend going to your car and driving home and to watch an hour show, it takes a lot for people to do that. The amount of respect I have for people, because I understand now, we're in the parking lot for 2.5 hours. I'm like, why am I here? Because I'm not used to that in a while. I don't watch shows.
Yeah.
And I'm a show. I have my own entrance.
Yes.
So I don't want people to spend 5 hours. This is not an hour, it's 5 hours to come watch me. Skumba. Really? So this was the hype was about this. I began correct. No.
Okay. Before we go to the headline news, when do you think you are going to be ready?
I'll let you'll be the first one to know. When I did I'll put you on blast and call like, yo ladies, I'm ready here.
Okay.
But for now, no.
Okay. No, we will hold you to that. Absolutely. We will hold you to that. We got some WhatsApps here for Uskumba. We'll come back to them on the other side of this. For now, though, it's time for us to catch up with the headline news. But our numbers are open. And, of course, you can always send a WhatsApp voice note on 061-410-4107. Or you can call us live on 086 0002032. We're hanging out with South African comedian Uskumba Hlope is joining me in studio this afternoon. It is a December fever right now, and we're getting into the December vibes, winding things down nice and slowly. Let's take a quick break here for the headline news, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about this upcoming show that is happening tomorrow night.
Thanks, Bridget. In your news making headlines, disgruntled workers at Bakubong Platinum Mine in the northwest say the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has failed to act on their pleas for an intervention in the ongoing underground sit-in. In other news, the SACP General Secretary Solima Paila says it's painful to see someone who has given his all for the liberation of South Africa leave the ANC. He was reacting to the ANC Veterans League Deputy President Mavuso Msimang's resignation from the party. And lastly, the mandate for an East African regional force that was deployed to the DRC last year is ending today. I have more in these and other stories at the top of the hour. For SFM News, I'm Eva Chipa.
Tweet at SAFM Radio and at Bridget Masinga.
It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, this afternoon. We are hanging out with a comedian and, of course, a businessman. Uskumba Hlope is joining me, and we're talking all things Uskumba, just catching up with him ahead of his show, which is happening tomorrow.
Yes.
People are going on vacation when you've got a full-blown December tour.
Not everyone. If all of us have so what about those that are staying behind?
Okay. Yes.
Aha. You think this is the only show I'm doing tomorrow? There's another show on 23 December. Empress Palace.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm coming. That's the one I brought my mom to a few years ago.
But yeah, the show is happening tomorrow, Carnival City, the Big Chop Arena.
Yeah. Is it just you?
No, it's not me.
It's never just you.
It's me and the guys that I open doors for. You understand what I'm saying? Like the other guys that
Yeah.
Let me not be spicy. As I can.
I'm spicy. Okay.
But yes, me, Oscar Omuhle, new guy on the scene, one of the funniest in the country. Sfisonene.
Yes.
I think Sfisonene has the most standing ovations in the country.
Really?
Sonke singama comedian combined. Don't come close to what Sfiso has done. It's a standing ovation.
Really?
That's how funny he is. So the Sfiso and it is known to our lady from Durban, funny, very funny. And then there's two from Gwandebele. I've got some nice surprises also on the lineup.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be the host. And when I host, I know for a fact that I lose my mind going, man.
You do.
So I'm going to have so much fun tomorrow. There's a few tickets left.
Okay.
A few tickets left at Compu Ticket. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the show, man.
I mean, I love the fact that I don't think I've seen you put on a show where it's rare. You've done it where, it's Kumba, one-man show.
Yeah.
But 80% of your shows, it's you and your friends. And oftentimes it's comedians that the rest of us don't even know of.
When they walk on stage, this is what you guys do. This is how you clap. But when they leave, yeah! And I love that. And even when I do my one-man shows, the guy that always opens for me, you guys don't know them. Usihle Mthetho is he stutters. He started like funny from Durban. Tony McKing. Tony hardly does any other shows but Washama Showam. You guys don't know those guys. So yeah, I always have people that you don't know, but I know that they're funny and I trust them when they're on stage. I can take a nap for an hour. I know that this hour has been taken care of by my out.
Where do you find the comedians? Like, where or how do they find you? How do they end up on your stage?
There's club gigs. We call them club gigs. You know those small rooms, there's 20 people. I believe if you can make 20 people laugh, I'm about 3,000 next.
True.
So because it's a small crowd, and if you can make a small crowd laugh, and that's where we started doing stand-up. I mean, Bambata, there was a point where we did a show at Bambata, which was in Centurion. There was 9 comedians on the lineup. The 9 comedians were Trevor Noah, Eugene Koz, Lois Okol, Kaksolidich, Skumba, Tips, Mpopops Mudikwan, Sia B, no Trevor Kumbi.
Yeah.
9 comedians, ne? Bringing up by 6 on the crowd.
Wow.
Yeah.
And not just any 9 comedians.
No. I counted 9 funny comedians.
Yeah.
There were 6 people on that room. 6. In the weekend, Trevor was hosting the summers.
Yeah.
So he wanted to try out some new things. 6 people laughed until they cried that night. And next week, guess how many people came to the show? Because we took pictures after the show and posting them on Facebook. Next week, 400 people came. There were 3 comedians on the night. So the small rooms that we do are the ones that will let you know if you're funny or not. And back then, by then, we were I think we regarded as many more. Myself, Pops, Tips, we were just many more. We're not really like household names, no.
Yeah.
No.
I like that. From many more to a household name. Let's go to WhatsApp.
Las kumba shope, hola, Ntwana Kasi. Yeah, Sani. What you just said now, it makes sense. Whenever you grab that opportunity yeah, I like that spirit, and keep up the good work that you are doing. 16 years. I'm going to go about 5 years ago now, but then thank you very much to AUC for inviting you there. Amonna, thank you very much for the story you just shared with us.
Thank you.
It's a joke.
Good afternoon, Bridget and Skumba in the studio there. Malisala here in Mpumalanga, but original from Limpopo. Bridget and the team, thank you for bringing in Skumba. I think it is the first time I hear Uskumba speaking English. And I think it's a good thing. Me being from Limpopo, when he says his jokes, you have to listen attentively because sometimes sometimes disappear. So it's good to hear him speaking English and continue doing the good work, making us laugh, my brother. And we love you. I think it's safe to say the whole of South Africa loves you. Every ethnic group, whether a person is Venda, Tsonga, Pedi, Tswana, Xhosa, they love you. Yeah, well. Thank you, man. Cheers.
But akho Zulu nezulwana. Remember seeing that TikTok video of the guy?
And I've been saying lately, to speak man. Yeah, but it's good. It shows growth.
Can I tell people, Uti, the first time Skumba ever agreed to come sit in conversation with me, we were both working together at Kaya, and I literally had to beg him in the corridors and harass him in the corridors like we weren't friends and colleagues. And then he came, but we had such a beautiful, heartfelt conversation that day because we spoke about your son even and that journey. And Skumba was... throughout every single commercial, every song, Skumba was like, why am I speaking English?
I'm tired. This is the thing. I'm accommodating you here. I mean, not even the list.
We can do it generation style.
But not Alpirimi. You don't even know what Alpirimi is. I'm asking Bridget, where is the Alpirimi? What's that? Is it like calamine? Calamine? Alpirimi, calamine.
You're an idiot. I can't with you. Oh my God, Skumba Hlope is in the building with me. Someone says, I don't want to fit in. I take over. Powerful words from our guest. And I think that's been the secret and the magic. Staying true to self.
Like, everyone is taken, eh? Everyone is taken. There's never going to be a Bridget Masinga. There's never going to be a Bonang.
Yeah.
There's never going to be a Itumilen. No matter there's never going to be a Itumilen Skumbuzo. Okay, you see my mind now. You see what my mind did there? You see? That's the thing about me again. That's the thing about me. No one's in Ngondo. Best in Ngondo means, ay. Better kancane. Nakho-ke. Umqoshile ukhuni.
Can Tumilen please just catch a break? I can't with you.
I know. I got dive. I'm going to dive.
Yes, it's Kumbuzo. I can't with you. Okay, the show tomorrow as we wrap it up.
Show is tomorrow, Carnival City. Please get the last ticket. The floor seats are gone.
Okay.
The middle stores are gone. The only things that are left are Pezul. So
in nosebleeds.
It's fit in because tomorrow, chances are you've watched comedy shows this year.
Yeah.
You've watched them. Taking nothing away from all my colleagues. They know when I do a show of me. It's not just a show, it's a special. That's why it's called Skumba's Weekend Comedy Special. I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but all I know is that when you leave that room, you would want to come back very soon.
I mean, I'm in complete, I believe you. I'm convinced. Skumba is one of the funniest people that I know, and the Gogos love him as well.
It's crazy how in my shows there's always... in the front seat.
No, back time.
I was in Pretoria, did a show. What? I'm keeping. I'm going to la. Angindawo. Fela la. May her soul rest in peace.
Oh, I can't with you. Skumba, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming through. He's busy until the 23rd of December, so if you don't catch him here in Johannesburg, there's still opportunities.
Yeah, 23rd December, I'll be at Emperor's Palace. It's called the last laugh of the year. We'll come through. It's going to be fun.
We're a national radio station, so you can say where else you're going to be.
10 February. National radio station. I'll be in Mpumalanga. I'm shining Bridget. 10 February, I'll be in Devon, Devon Playhouse, and then I'll do Mpumalanga. I'll release all the days. Just follow my social media page, especially the Instagram one. That's the only one that I give attention to.
Lovely stuff. Skumba, let's leave it there for this afternoon. That was Skumba Hlope. Let's take a quick break, and then we come back on the other side. We catch up with the folks at the Nelson Mandela Foundation.
It's the celebration of the century, and you're invited. We've already given away almost 3 million rand with 56 daily vouchers won. Buy a new Ford before 31 December, and you could win a 50,000 rand voucher or the grand prize of us paying for your new Ford. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. TNCs apply.
Sekhukhune United target a win in their own backyard against Stade Malien FC. Meanwhile, the Malian side refused to travel back home empty-handed. This is the CAF Confederation Cup Group D clash. Catch Sekhukhune United versus Stade Malien FC on Sunday 10 December at 8:30 p.m. live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Beyond the headline on SAFM.
So what sort of interventions should we be seeing?
Crime is usually linked in poorer communities to poverty. Not a direct correlation, but in the absence of having jobs, in the absence of having good income, etc., people tend to get frustrated, and I think some of that frustration, boredom, anger, etc., plays itself out in criminal activities.
Professor Nirmala Gopal, who is a criminologist.
Beyond the headline with Aldrin Sampear on SAFM. Weekdays, 3 to 6 p.m. You're listening to Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
Oh my goodness. Oh, as Kumba has just left the building. Agahlupi. Right now, though, it's time for us to catch up with Geshwal Brooks, who's the head of the Mandela Day and public outreach out at the Nelson Mandela Foundation. And of course, we know it is the 10th anniversary since the passing of the great statesman. And the foundation is marking this with the Mandela Remembrance Walk. Good afternoon to you, Geshwal. How are you doing?
Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you so much for the time. So it's, we celebrated the 10th anniversary on the 5th, and this is a beautiful way to mark the moment with the Nelson Mandela Remembrance Walk.
Most definitely. And, for the Nelson Mandela Foundation, we have two annual walks, for lack of a better term. There's obviously the Remembrance Walk, and then there's also the Houghton Walk and Run. And the one thing that stands out for us is that this gives us an opportunity to bring communities together. We live in these large cities, but we don't really have a sense of neighborliness, for lack of a better term. We don't really get to know each other. And so this is a beautiful opportunity to bring communities together, bring people together, families together, and enjoy a hot day out in the sun.
Yeah. And I love the fact that, this particular walk is actually hosted in a city that a lot of people would not necessarily think, if you were embarking on a Nelson Mandela Remembrance Walk, that you'd be walking the streets of Tshwane.
Well, it is the capital of the nation, and I think it also pays homage to the fact that Madiba was our first democratically elected president. So he spent some time in Tshwane, at least in the office in Tshwane. And then obviously the Houghton Walk and Run in comparison is because he lived in Houghton. So I think the two, come together very beautifully. And I think the other element that I want to highlight is that Madiba, I think a well-known fact about Madiba, of course, he was quite advanced in age when he left prison and became our first democratically elected president. But the one thing was that he always looked healthy and fit, and how he maintained that was because he had a love for walking. And he walked the streets of Pretoria, he walked the streets of Houghton. And this is such a beautiful way of paying homage to him.
And the other, element that I love is the call to participants to also reflect on their own role and contribution in building a united and harmonious South Africa during the course of the walk.
Definitely. I think the one thing that stands out for us is that, in this 10th year anniversary of remembering Madiba since his passing is the fact that, look, ultimately, I think as a society we have to come to terms with, and in fact that was the exhibition that we held at the Nelson Mandela Foundation, that Nelson Mandela is dead. Madiba is no longer with us. And really he built a very strong foundation for us to build on. We've not really been great at building on that foundation, but now is the opportunity, maybe more than ever, for us to build on that foundation that he had given us in terms of having the rights that we have, having the opportunities that we have, and building that unified nation that will go forward and make a better life for all.
Absolutely. Let's get to the task at hand come Sunday, which is when the walk is happening. For those of us who are not necessarily fit, it is a walk and a run. By the way, as much as I keep saying that it is a walk, but for those of us who aren't necessarily fit, Geshwal, would we be capable of finishing the course?
Of course, yes. People like myself can finish 5 kilometers through a leisurely walk, you have that option. Obviously, for those people that are a little more competitive, if I'm not mistaken, there's a 21-kilometer run as well. So you have the option of, in terms of the lower kilometer rated ones, you can take a walk. And then obviously for those who are road warriors, running on a day-to-day basis, they can tackle up to 21 kilometers. From what I understand, and I think for me, the one thing that stands out, and again, I'm going to use Houghton as a point of reference, if my 3 children, aged 9, 7, and 5, at the time, could finish the walk, believe me, anyone can do it.
Absolutely.
Anyone can definitely do it. I mean, there was a lot of complaining at the end of the event, but they managed to complete those 5 kilometers.
No, sounds like a brilliant day out. So there's the 5-kilometer fun walk, and of course the 10 and the 21-kilometer runs for those that are very ambitious. And tickets can be procured via MandelaWalkandRun.com. That's where you can go. And all proceeds for this going towards continuing the work of the Nelson Mandela Foundation.
Definitely. I think that, not to scare off the listeners, sadly enough, we oversubscribed. We sold out.
Gosh, well.
So what we can do is maybe for those who are lucky enough, there might be 1 or 2 tickets lying around. So please do go to the website and see if there's anything available, maybe a cancellation or 2. It might have popped through, so I think people need to keep an eye out. But as of now, from what I know, it is sold out. Of course, it is in partnership with the Gauteng Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, Shield and Vaseline through Unilever, our sponsor along with Mahindra. They've been of great support, and all of these funds go towards, including the tickets that people have purchased, goes towards the work that we do, whether it be Mandela Day, as my department, or the advocacy and dialogue work that we are doing. I'm sure as a marker of the great work being done there, our dialogue and advocacy team, for example, for the annual lecture this year, Malala Yousafzai was our delivered the 10th anniversary lecture since Madiba's passing. So this is what it goes towards. And of course, lest I forget that we are in charge of Madiba's single largest archive of his writings, photos, and items that he'd received. We are ultimately the center of memory when it comes to Madiba's legacy.
Absolutely. Gershwell, thank you so much for the time this afternoon. That was Gershwell Brooks giving us a quick rundown of this year's Nelson Mandela Remembrance Walk happening out in Tshwane. And unfortunately, all the tickets are sold. It has been oversubscribed, but always keep in mind for 2024. And you can always go out and just support those folks that are out there running and walking, and you still have a good time, even though you are not necessarily partaking in the walk, just being on the sidelines on the road and cheering people on, all in the spirit of Madiba. It's just gone 10 to 2 o'clock. Let's take a quick break here. It's time for us to get into Nalibali and Radio Workshop, taking us to the top of the hour.
It's the celebration of the century, and you're invited. We've already given away almost 3 million rand with 56 daily vouchers won. Buy a new Ford before 31 December and you could win a 50,000 rand voucher or the grand prize of us paying for your new Ford. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. TNCs apply.
Various African outfits will display a great brand of cricket this festive season. Kenya, Ghana and Cameroon will play their hearts out in the East-West qualifier of the BNP Group Africa Cup T20 2023. They will all endeavor to clinch one of 4 remaining spots. This is the journey to the finals of the BNP Group Africa Cup T20 2023. Witness the thrilling action from 5 to 10 December, live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
Recently, I have been thinking about my anxiety, and I need to do something about it. I have been considering therapy because a lot of people seek therapy for anxiety, right? Why not me? So far, I have only thought about it, but it's expensive, and I'm not sure I can add that to my list of adult expenses. Not yet. I also don't know how my dad will feel about therapy, and his opinion matters to me. I know that's random, but there's an explanation. All the ideas that have shaped me, I learned from my dad, especially ideas about how to be a man. He never seems to second guess himself. He's calm and collected. He's strong-willed. And like I said, he's a man who shows little emotion. I can't picture him going for therapy, and I don't know how he's going to react to the idea. So I've been going back and forth about telling him about my anxiety. I just don't know if he will get it, and I really want him to.
Chelsea's not even in the top 10.
Hmm?
They're not.
My dad's passion for football has always cracked me up. We sit together on the couch to watch Sunday Premier League football, something we've done hundreds of times before.
Last season, it was finisher. They didn't have.
Funny thing about my dad and me, we have a lot in common physically. I'm dark, he's darker, he's tall, I am taller. And we are both into physical exercise and made the habit of working out at the National Stadium on Saturday mornings. But we've never supported the same football club. And our similarities dwindle from here. I have sat with him and chatted like this on many Sundays before. But today, I feel cold. When I get nervous, I get very cold. And right now, I feel like I'm shivering. So the first question I wanted to ask is about your childhood. Maybe if you can tell me a little bit about your own growing up as a child in Obiane.
You go to school in the morning, you wake up. We never had the opportunity of brushing our teeth with a modern toothbrush. You come out of the house, you see orange tree, you pluck the stick.
This is the first time I've heard about this part of my dad's life. I've always known he grew up in the rural village, but I never knew about these details of his childhood. Picturing him cleaning his teeth in the morning with a branch from an orange tree. He paints a new color onto my dad. I see him not only as a father now, but also as a person.
My parents were farmers. So cultivating different crops. You have a rice farm, you have yam farm, you have a cassava farm, then you have cash crop.
My dad is 62 years old and he grew up in Obiane, a little known village in the south of Nigeria. As we talked, he told me about his parents and about how they were uneducated farmers, but always recognized the importance of education. They did everything they could to ensure my dad and his 6 siblings received at least the most basic form of schooling. When my dad was 13, he left his parents' house and moved to a neighboring village for secondary education. After that, he worked briefly as a teacher before studying estate management at a technical college. Then, my dad told me about all of the cities he lived in before moving to Lagos. I had no idea my dad had lived in so many places. And I wished I knew this when I was younger, when I had tried to write an essay about him. In English class, when I was 12, I was asked to write about the person I admire most in the world. Of course I wrote about my dad. But writing that essay was the first time I realized how little I knew about him. I made up a lot of details just to make the case that my dad was outstanding, someone to look up to. He has always been someone I admired greatly. But at the same time, there's always been this feeling that I don't really know who he is. I had a conversation with my mom recently where she described the close bond my dad and I used to have when I was younger. She described how he was my favorite person in the world, how I used to cry every time he left the house.
and welcome to Nali Bali. Do you take part in any extramural activities? Taking part in these activities is extremely important when it comes to your development as children. Taking part in extramural activities is a great way for you to make new friends, learn about teamwork, and get much needed exercise. Come with us to the Storyland as we listen to today's story called Wendy and the Vankies, written by Michaela Joy Brown. But before we listen to today's story, let's all get up and dance. Today was the big day, the day of the Vankies. All the neighborhood children would race against each other with their own Vankies. A Vankies is a small cart with 4 wheels.
It's my favorite time of the year,
Wendy said as her mother tied back her curly hair.
Whatever happens, remember that you are stronger than you think,
her mother said, kissing her on the head.
Yes, Mummy,
Wendy answered. She gobbled up her porridge, put her favorite techies and rushed out the door. She could not be late for the race. She and her partner were competing against 5 other teams. Each team was made up of 2 people, a pusher and a sitter. The sitter would sit in the Vankie and be pushed by the pusher. The fastest team to push the Vankie down the road could win. Wendy's teammate was her best friend Jewel. But when Wendy saw Jewel, she immediately knew something was wrong.
I tripped over my shoelace and fell. Oh, my ankle's too sore to run,
Jewel said sadly. Jewel always pushed Wendy in the Vankie. She had never tried pushing him before.
You'll never be able to push the Vankie, Wendy,
Robbie said, teasing Wendy. He was always mean to Wendy. Wendy wanted to cry, but when she remembered her mother's words,
"You are stronger than you think,"
all of a sudden, Wendy felt a surge of boldness.
I'm not a quitter. I will push you, Joel,
Wendy said. So Wendy and Joel lined up with the other teams at the end of the street. Uncle Harry stood ready with a red flag.
On your marks, get set, go!
Uncle Harry shouted, waving the flag wildly. Wendy rushed forward, pushing the Vankie with all her might. Her eyes were fixed on the finish line. She was in front. She was going to win. Suddenly, the Vankie became heavier. Wendy looked down and saw that one of the wheels had popped off. Oh no! How could she push a broken Vankie? The other teams raced past her. Wendy wanted to give up, but her mother's words again echoed in her mind.
You are stronger than you think.
So Wendy pushed the Vankie with all her might across the finish line. She had made it, but she was lost.
Velakapila!
Shouted Robbie and laughed in Wendy's face. Wendy felt her eyes well up with tears. She had tried so hard to win. At the prize giving, Wendy Williams pushed a broken Vankie from start to finish. And so we come to the end of another Nali Bali story time. Today's story was called Wendy and the Vankie, written by Michaela Joy Brown. Did you know that reading and telling stories to children at home can help them do better at school? If you want free stories to read to your children or for your children to enjoy on their own, visit Nali Bali website www.nalibali.org or Mobi site www.nalibali.mobi. You will find stories in 11 South African languages, as well as tips for reading and sharing stories with your children to grow their potential. Also look out for the bilingual Nali Bali Reading for Enjoyment supplements with great children's stories and activities available in newspapers. Nali Bali, it starts with a story.
Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
Top stories at 2. Bakubong miners bemoan Mineral Department's lack of interventions and the East African force to leave the DRC. Good afternoon, I'm Eva Chipa. Disgruntled workers at Bakubong Platinum Mine in the northwest say the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has failed to act on their pleas for an intervention in the ongoing underground sit-in. More than 200 mine workers are now on day 3 of their protest. The miners are protesting over management's alleged discriminatory practices as well as salary increases, among others. Mine worker Mbuisa Kabule, who is providing support to the protesting employees, say they have made several attempts to get the department to intervene with no success.
So we went to the DR, we even got a letter stating our cases because we asked them that if they care about the situation that is happening around the mine now. So we are still waiting for the response from the DMR because we asked them, we wanted an inspector to come and see if our fellow workers are safe or what. So up to so far, there's no response. The condition is that the ventilation is less underground. So we have fear of our brothers and sisters and our fellow workers that are working there.
The SACP General Secretary, Solema Baila, says it's painful to see someone who's given his all to the liberation of South Africa leave the ANC. He is reacting to the ANC's Veterans League Deputy President, Mavusi Msimang's resignation from the party. Msimang attributed his resignation earlier this week to what he termed systemic corruption in the ANC. Mapaila says he suspects that Msimang, like other members of the organization, have been feeling despondent for a long time.
What we are not happy about, beyond just internal problems, is the state of South African state and the state of South African economy. If you go deeper into it, you'll find the real cause of the many things that is lamenting about. Put corruption on the side, apart from the issues that he's raising. Fundamental, all the other issues are issues of the crisis of social reproduction of the capitalist system that has intensified, increased, consolidated under a democratic dispensation. And remember that capitalism doesn't serve the people, it serves the interest of business.
The Tshwane Metro Police Department is warning motorists not to stop when ordered to do so by officers in unmarked vehicles. The department is battling with a shortage of vehicles in its fleet, leading to some members using their private vehicles while on duty. However, Chief of the Metro Police, Yolanda Faro, says they have now issued a directive against officers using their own cars following multiple cases of misconduct by officers, such as extortion. Speaking at the launch of the city's festive season operations at the Petroport on the N1 in Pretoria, Faro appealed to motorists to report officers using unmarked vehicles.
A directive has gone out that nobody must use their private vehicles. So if anybody use their private vehicles, report it. Number 2, you need to have 2 people here. You need to have somebody that's offering the bribe and somebody that's taking the bribe. We are dealing with the people taking the bribe. However, I want to appeal to the community not to offer. An officer will want to solicit a bribe or extortion. We want to ask them to take the details of that officer, the vehicle that the officer is driving, whether it's private vehicle that they're not supposed to because the directive went out, or whether it's in a marked vehicle, and report them to Internal Affairs. We will act swiftly with these members.
In other news, hemp license holders in KZN say they are optimistic that the industry will create job opportunities. They were part of the launch of a training program for farmers at Verulam in the north of Durban today, as over 600 hemp license holders have been given licenses to produce cannabis in the province. CEO of research company Opulent Pharmaceuticals, Duran Govender, explains.
We are going to be training our license holders on full cultivation and harvest of cannabis and hemp. Because we have 3 years experience in this industry from the time we've been licensed, we've done 3 years of research and development. This allowed us to find the challenges in the cannabis industry. We are willing to take what we have found, those challenges, and help our up-and-coming farmers to not experience the same challenges. So we're willing to train them on the nutrients, we're willing to train them on the pesticides, how to clone, the right type of strains, the right conditions, the entire full cultivation and harvest process.
And lastly, the mandate for an East African regional force that was deployed to the Democratic Republic of Congo last year will end today. The soldiers were sent to the east of the country to help retake areas that the M23 rebel group has seized. The BBC's Anne Soy reports.
It has been a short-lived mission, barely a year, and it was deployed at the request of President Tshisekedi, but who now says that the force has been ineffective in containing the situation there. He has also accused the UN peacekeeping mission there, MONUSCO, of being ineffective. It has been there for longer. There are well over 100 armed groups in different parts of eastern Congo. This is a mineral-rich region and a very complex situation there.
Recapping the top story at 2, disgruntled workers at Bakobong Platinum Mine in the northwest say the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has failed to act on their pleas for an intervention in the ongoing underground sit-in. I'll be back at the bottom of the hour for SAFM News. I'm Eva Chipa.
SAFM values your views. Be an active citizen.
I like to sell it, but want a good price for it. Where can I sell it? I'd like to sell it. I'd like to sell it. I'd like to...
Whoa. You want to sell your car?
Yes.
Okay.
Why do you ask?
Well, because we'd like to buy it. 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 You want to sell it? We want to buy it. We buy cars. The best way to sell your car by far.
Mamelodi Sundowns and Egyptian outfit Pyramids FC have collected maximum points in their Group A opening matches. They now tackle each other in search of victory. Masandawana want to ensure their visitors walk away without any joy, but Pyramids FC are confident they will upset the 2016 champs. This is the CAF Champions League. Roerkop battles it out with East Cairo. Experience the African flavor of the beautiful game. Mamelodi Sundowns FC versus Pyramids FC on Sunday 10 December at 2:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC 1. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. # We Love It Here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga. Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Sways in parabola motion, right on time with the latest club incantation. We live for the weekend, working up the courage. We pray away the pain of not being in alignment with our dreams. Bet your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here. Bet your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here. Bet your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Ain't nobody living out here. Bet your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here. Bet your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here. Bet your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here. Be someone who's living out here. Oh, well. All is well. All is well. has come and gone too soon. We live for the weekend to numb out the damage. We pray away the pain of not being in alignment with our dreams. It's your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here, ain't nobody living out here. It's your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here, be someone who's living out here. It's your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here, be someone who's living out here. It's your life, go on, be alive. Ain't nobody living out here, be someone who's living out here.
It is Prince KB and Msaki teaming up for this one, Fetch Your Life. Have you ever listened to the lyrics of this song? I mean, in our off time, when we are not preoccupied by matters of the state, corruption, load shedding, politics, politicians, and all the rest of it, in your leisure time when you are just, unwinding and listening to some music, you should probably listen to the lyrics of the song. We've all concurred that Msaki is probably one of the most prolific songwriters that we have in the country. She just has, she's a master when it comes to weaving words, and very poetic in how she sort of phrases her perspective as well through song. And this song, if you isolate the lyrics from just the general production and the beat of the song and listen to the lyrics, just written so incredibly. Anyway, we've just entered the second hour of the show. How quickly time flies, particularly this week. It's almost as though, we blinked and it was Friday. Right now, though, we're going to catch up with Tarina Falk, who is the managing director of Elite Risk Acceptances. And we're looking at the current and future trends influencing high net worth, or rather influencing the high net worth market, particularly going into 2024 and beyond. The non-life insurance sector is currently undergoing some kind of significant shift that the market says will impact affluent markets and the insurance needs in 2024. And even though we're seeing a sluggish economy, this is not deterring those who have the means from acquiring those high-quality possessions. Good afternoon to you, Tarina. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Bridget. Very well, thanks. How are you?
I am fantastic, thank you. We've seen, a rather sluggish, constricted economy in South Africa, and a lot of people saying that this has led to some kind of fragility. But in the high net worth market, in the high net worth sector, this has not deterred people from acquiring those high quality possessions, or has it?
Well, I don't believe it has. Our research shows that that people are, even the high net worth, are living more frugally, but different to the way that I would be, tying my belt a little bit tighter. They tend to buy less, but focus more on the quality and make some high-end acquisitions. But the interesting thing that we noticed as there's worldwide an increase in the second-hand luxury market. And don't for one moment think that these things are cheap second-hand. I was scrolling on European vintage market listings for things that I thought I would be able to buy, and it's still thousands of euros that you have to pay for these high-end items. But the thing here, and for the target market that we're talking about, the price tag may be somewhat lower than brand new, but this trend supports sustainable fashion. I think that is basically how the lack of growth has affected the high net worth clients.
Yeah. And as we talk about sort of, the trends, what are some of perhaps the current trends, if there are any, that are affecting particularly policy holders and their behavior, whether it's the decisions they're making around, insurance and how that affects their purchases or vice versa?
Well, we can talk for a long time about the decision about insurance. As the economy gets tougher and, as we call it in our industry, the market hardens, there are tough negotiations going around premiums. And obviously this segment has a little bit more of a bargaining power because of the sheer size of their premiums. So it is a very desirable segment. But the other thing that we noticed is that they continue, the real, true, ultra-high net worth people continue to invest in alternative asset classes like vintage or classic vehicles and high-end jewelry, especially watches.
Oh.
Yes. And I've seen incredible collections of wristwatches that you can't believe. But the problem we have with this, at the tail end of the COVID restrictions, but also not only that, worldwide there's a huge increase in demand of these luxury watches, and that created shortages. So what we have found is that, yes, you can contact a watch distributor and obtain a replacement value from them, but they don't necessarily have stock. So that is a challenge that many, many high net worth individuals have that choose to invest in, especially expensive watches. So it's very important for them to just have a chat with their broker and insurer to find out what the insurer will do if, for example, the watch breaks or goes missing. How are they going to compensate the client if they can't find a replacement watch?
Oh, wow.
So, yes, that's sometimes really a challenge for us. So you have to choose your insurer well to know that they have the necessary skill and means and relationships to secure replacements if it's necessary.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, some of us can't even relate.
Believe me.
We'd have to win the lotto in order to relate. But funny, as you were talking about, this trend of investing in alternative asset classes, I was thinking there was a very big auction. Don't ask me how I end up on these mailing lists for fancy auction houses. There was a very big auction that happened about a month ago of, small tangible assets, particularly jewelry and watches. And I remember reading the catalog, the curator's catalog of the watches, and this read like a dream, like a timepiece dream with vintage, rare, one-of-a-kind. And I just thought to myself, who is buying these and where are you keeping them? Because surely you're also not walking around with 30 million rand on your wrist. Or are your clients really in a position to be enjoying these things freely? Because, your sector, the insurance sector is taking care of that worry.
Yes, very much so. So we do require that when they're not worn, that these expensive items are kept in a safe. But and also, the normal advice we give, don't flash it on social media so that everybody can see you've got a Rolex. Just be very vigilant and cautious when you are wearing it, and please keep it in a safe.
No, good advice right there, Tarina. And then let's look also at perhaps some of the emerging risks and opportunities that you're seeing in this affluent market, moving into 2024 and beyond. What are the projections they're looking like in terms of risks and opportunity?
Well, if you look worldwide, some of the most important emerging risks relate to changing weather patterns and the increase in cybercrime. That is a given. For South Africans, then we need to add the demise of our infrastructure and the continued load shedding that we see, which is not going anywhere. But what happened here is this has led to an exponential increase in the installation of alternative and backup energy solutions. So that is the opportunity that our clients have. These are hugely expensive investments. I've seen investments worth millions in solar backup systems. So obviously the opportunity here is for uninterrupted power supply and also eventually feeding back into the grid. But these they come with their own risks, these installations. We have seen serious damages and have incurred big claims that were directly caused by incorrect installations. So, you're spending a lot of money on this, and you're probably most likely going to install it on top of your biggest asset, which is your house. So it is so important to make sure that the people that you select to install these systems, that they are properly accredited and that they are able to provide you with the correct certificate of compliance. I'm sorry about that. And then there, of course, we all, or not all of us, but some of us are still working remotely. There's an increase in online transacting. I take it for myself. This gives our clients the freedom to shop and work from anywhere. And you may have seen that there's also an increase in semigration into smaller and safer environments in the interest of safety and security and a more rural lifestyle. Unfortunately, the cyber criminals are constantly evolving their levels of sophistication. And this opens us up to the risk of cybercrime as well. So I've done a little bit of research, and I've noticed that it varies worldwide over different continents. But since the COVID-19 pandemic, cybercrime is expected to increase globally by 15% per year. We're talking about massive amounts of money. And we see often that clients look at their short-term insurers to reinstate them, to put them in the financial position they were before this crime happened. And we know, and not all insurance policies cater for that. There was a huge noise in the market a while ago because most insurers added an exclusion for cyber losses to our policies. Yes, but that's because of our reinsurance treaties that had that exclusion. That's a worldwide thing that's happening worldwide. So we need to encourage clients to ensure the security of their home networks, always be vigilant when contracting online. I can tell you, I got I got an email this morning that worried me so much. It was saying that we noticed that you've been doing private work on your work laptop and you are at risk of being dismissed. And I didn't check properly, and I was so freaked out. I emailed HR and everyone, and then came back to me and said, that's a phishing mail.
So even yourself, you're not immune to people trying to penetrate your organization.
Absolutely. It was a test. It was an internal test.
Yeah.
But never click on a link. Please, never, ever, if you don't trust the source as well.
Absolutely. Tarina, thank you so much for just touching base with us this afternoon and giving us some things that we need to consider, particularly for our listeners that fall within this bracket, but some tips there also for all of us, really, that we can use moving forward. That was Tarina Falk, MD of Elite Risk Acceptances. It's fast approaching past. Time for us to take a quick break.
New news making headlines. Gold One Mine says it has received information that some employees are being held underground against their will. This as unions and mine management try to establish if miners are staging a sit-in. Meanwhile, in another mining situation, disgruntled workers at Bakobong Platinum Mine in the northwest said the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has failed to act on their pleas for an intervention in the ongoing underground sit-in. And lastly, a showdown looms in the United Nations Security Council later today when the 15-member body will vote on a new draft resolution demanding an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. The move comes after the Secretary-General Antonio Guterres invoked a rare diplomatic tool provided by the UN Charter. I have more in these and other stories at the top of the hour. For SFM News, I'm Eva Chipa.
Get your payments done with the utmost security and convenience when you purchase a TV license now. With our new secure payment systems with a one-time PIN OTP feature and the choice of receiving your OTP via SMS or email, you can ensure prompt and secure payments. The additional use of capture will protect you against spam and automated data attractions. With TV licenses, you can enjoy watching all your favorite shows or movies that matter to you. Get yours today. Visit www.tvlic.co.za.
Brighton and Hove Albion are going all out to brighten their clash against Burnley FC with maximum points.
Adingler again, that was a masterpiece.
However, Burnley FC will display a sense of urgency to move up from the relegation zone.
Ariola has scored! Down the middle! Burnley lead! Shane Rodriguez!
Who will have a great day on the field of play? The Seagulls or the Clarets? This is the Premier League. Catch the exciting clash between Brighton and Hove Albion and Burnley FC on Saturday, 9 December at 4 p.m. live on S3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag we love it here. Brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The 17th annual Chief Albert Luthuli Memorial Lecture will be delivered by former University of Cape Town Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Thandabantu Nhlapo on Saturday, that's tomorrow, the 9th of December at 11:30 a.m. and streamed live on the Luthuli Museum at UKZN Facebook and YouTube platforms. The theme for this year's lecture will be Customary Law and SA Legal System, a role for the courts, the legislature and civil society. Now, the annual Luthuli Memorial Lecture, is a partnership event between the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture, the Luthuli Museum, the Luthuli Foundation and the University of KwaZulu-Natal. And for more information, you can contact Zinhle Nyembe on 032 559 6824, or you can email PR officer at luthulimuseum@org.za, or visit www.luthulimuseum.co.za, or contact Pam Adams on adamsp@ukzn.ac.za.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
It is the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM. And today we have joining me for Full Access actress and a voice-over artist, somebody that a lot of us watched on television throughout the years on Generations. We became very familiar with her character of Lerato. We've seen her in countless other productions, and now she's back on a brand new production that I happened to binge this past weekend. Classified is a local series where she plays Miss Mensa, and it's set against the backdrop of a bougie, posh, privileged high school in Johannesburg. That reads like the United Nations of high school. Ghanaian Zambian actress joins me now, Abina Ayevu, for Full Access. How are you doing, Abina?
I am great. How are you?
I am fantastic. Cannot complain at all. Congratulations on this new production, Classified. A beautiful series. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think anytime the world of, spies and espionage collide with high school and adolescent issues, it's always a fun day in the house binging on some good TV.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yes, no, me too. I was watching it just like a viewer because, as you saw, my character was here and there. It's basically a story by the kids, for the kids. I feel like the adults, it just foils to the Gen Z storyline.
Yeah.
And having that espionage theme just felt very fresh and new, Also having the American girl viewing South Africa from her eyes, it just makes us look at ourselves in a different way. And then also the fact that it was targeting the 1% that very few of us actually get to see. Either way, just made it that much more riveting to watch. So yes, it was a fun project to be involved in.
Let me ask you, as an actress, I mean, a lot of us, obviously, we've watched you on television, Generations. You were there for many, many years as part of that incredible stellar cast of Generations. You've gone on to do so many other productions. But I wonder, from a performance and energy perspective, is it different when you are part of a cast that is predominantly, adolescents and young adults acting as adolescents? Must be completely different to being part of a cast of, your age peers.
Definitely. I feel like with each project, you kind of go in with a different energy. And with this one, I was like, it's not about you, actually, it's about them. And this character is just a foil. Like, I saw Miss Mensa as a woman who had almost no life, and the school is her baby, and her main priority is to maintain the good name of the school.
Yeah.
And she will do whatever because she's quite hard and quite tough and no nonsense, but it's more because she really wants to protect the school, and these kids better stay in line. And we know that kids never do. So from that perspective, I was literally felt like the parent on the sidelines, letting the children fly and reign. And boy, did they not disappoint. I am so proud of their performances, their fearlessness, their hungry spirit to learn, and just the talent in this country blows my mind all the time. I feel like it just gets better and better. And kids are just more open and more fearless than our generation ever was.
Absolutely. Here's the other thing that I'm realizing that probably was, even if, I don't know, whether you grew up as part of the 1% or not, but just knowing that you were born in Zambia, to a Zambian mother and a Ghanaian dad. So already there, a mix of cultures. And then you spent quite a significant time in childhood in Lesotho before finding yourself anywhere near South Africa. So you yourself are quite the, I make the anecdote of how Classified was like the United Nations of high school.
Yeah.
And you yourself, your childhood was kind of like that, considering all the places that you've called home over the years.
But all of that was mostly when I was really young. So And Lesotho was only about a year. So yes, I was born in Zambia. I moved to Lesotho when I was about 5, and then to the former Transkei at like 6. So from sub A, I was in South Africa. I did all my schooling in the former Transkei.
Okay.
Until matric, And besides the Zambian Ghanaian aspect, my mother's also on half and half. So my mother's actually half South African.
Oh, okay.
So yes, my mother's half South African, half Zambian. All my South African family is actually Afrikaans speaking from the Western Cape.
Oh.
So a lot of people don't know that. So it's just I always just say I'm an African. I'm just like, if Africans didn't love each other, I wouldn't exist, right? So why do we have xenophobia? There's no need, right?
Right.
Let's just love each other and make babies. It just makes us realize we are more alike than we are different. And so, yes, I do feel on the periphery of all my cultures in a lot of ways. And it makes for observation in a very different kind of way than when you are submerged in something. And they're also different, but also rich and so beautiful. And I am very grateful for the different cultures I represent. And I love each and every one of them.
I wonder if you are to indulge me a little bit. You say you feel very much on the periphery of all the varying cultures, and thus it's made observation for you different. How so?
Well, just in terms, I guess, more language, So because my parents come from different countries, I was raised in an English-speaking household.
Yeah.
So I never got to learn each of their individual languages. So from that perspective, like language is a big part of immersion in culture, I feel. So I can get the essence of things and the food and stuff, but there's subtle nuances that language bring that I can't, Yet at the same time, as an actor, I find myself taking roles of different African countries, and I may not speak the language, but I will play a part and access the accent because I've grown up around so many different accents. That's something I always lean towards, So I'll play a Congolese character this side, a Rwandan here, a Ugandan, a Ghanaian, I've basically ran the whole gambit of accents. And that for me, I feel comes from just feeling like I'm a part of everything and I can access different parts of me, even if it isn't necessarily an actual language.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Makes perfect sense, because I think there is a segment of, folks listening who can identify. You sort of had to grow up on the periphery of these dualities. Especially in the millennials. If you were, for instance, one of those kids who moved into the suburbs very early on at like 4 or 5, was one of the first intakes into former Model C schools and engrossed into all of that. Sometimes, what you're saying makes absolute sense, that you kind of live on the periphery of your Africanness and your African culture and having to negotiate all of that all the time.
Yes.
Right? Let's take a quick break here.
And yet...
Yes, continue. And yet?
I was going to say, and yet it does not detract from your Africanness at all, because you are very aware of who you are as an African and proud of it, Yeah. So it is a very complex duality, as you say. Yeah.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick break here for a second, and we'll welcome in Aldrin St. Pierre to let us know what's coming up on Beyond the Headline today. We are in conversation for full access with the actress and voiceover artist Abina Ayev, who is joining us on the show.
Yeah, I'm sure Nelly has newfound respect for me. I had to sort her out, hey? Next time she keeps quiet while I'm talking to her, she'll think twice, I tell you.
Coach. And that'll be a perfect example to your son on how to treat a woman.
Hey, man, what does my son have to do with this now?
Man, Coach, you tell me, man. Look how you turned out and think deep. Pella, the cycle could end with you. Let us uplift the boy child and raise real men for a gender violence-free tomorrow. A message brought to you by Love Life. This is an SABC-supported initiative.
Make every weekend a fragrance weekend with Dis-Chem Pharmacies. Get an incredible 20% off your favorite fragrance like Aramis, Bulgari, Calvin Klein, Guess, Givenchy, Versace, Yves Saint Laurent, and Zadig and Voltaire. This weekend only 9 and 10 December. Shop online or in store for the best prices on our wide range of luxurious fragrances. Dis-Chem Pharmacies. Better health starts here.
Individual brilliance always adds a superb vibe to the team. Sami Sohail of Malawi holds the highest batting average in 2020 internationals. Dhruv Surya of Botswana is the quickest to reach 50 wickets in 2020 internationals, and Francisco Kouana of Mozambique is the first player to score a century and take 5 wickets in the same 2020 internationals. Catch these African stars in action of the BNP Group Africa Cup this December, live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Aldrin Pierre is joining me in studio, and we're already complaining about how Jan is so long. and we're not even there yet. But you know what causes me a sense of anxiety? I don't know if you've started receiving the SMSs from everybody who takes a debit.
Yes. I'm
like, but who told you guys that you must go into my account on the 22nd of December?
I always respond with a no.
Like,
no, don't do it. No,
don't
do it.
They just like,
Yeah.
I'm like, how angakafing should go December 16.
Do you know, there was a time when I didn't know that they were going to do this. And I budgeted money. I want to put my money aside and calculated. This is my festive season budget. And then boom, Haibo. It was the installment for the car that went off, and like, Haibo, gone, ganjalo. So then I called them, like, guys, what happened? You double debited me. What happened? And they're like, no, remember it's the festive season, so we take the debit earlier. And like, no, you can't be doing
also,
that.
what are you saying about me? I'm not an irresponsible person.
I'm so responsible, and I included that amount in my budget for the festive season. You can't do that.
What's coming up today?
Coming up on the show this afternoon, we are in conversation with Professor Richard, who's a researcher at the Burden Disease Unit at the Medical Research Council. Some research that they've done looking into the murder stats, but doing it by gender.
Okay.
And while the focus tends to be on the death of women because of gender-based violence, there are more men that die more than women. So for every 7 men that die or are murdered, 1 woman is murdered. So they did some research around that. So it's an interesting conversation.
And they break it down even to the cause of death?
Yeah. Blunt instruments as well as gunshot wounds. Those are mostly what leads to the deaths.
Oh.
So we'll be having that conversation with Dr. Richard at around 20 past 4 and 20 past 3. We look at the agreement between Zimbabwe and Botswana. They are now going to also be allowing the citizens to travel in between the two countries without any passports.
Oh.
Yep. All you have to have is your ID. Should we open it up to South Africa? Because Namibia is already doing it with Botswana. Should we be doing it as well as part of the SADC? What do you say?
I mean, I would not mind visa-free travel between SADC.
Yeah. Well, we don't really require visas in the SADC region. But the passport. So can you use your ID to just travel in between the two countries?
No. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Then how do you know? Because the passports also serve a purpose of getting all of that data.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now they just use their IDs. But here's the thing though about Botswana is that Botswana has a very small population. And I suspect that the reason that Botswana is doing this is also to try and increase their population, but not with undocumented citizens. So you still want the people to be documented.
I see.
It's my suspicion, but I could be wrong. But we're raising it with our guests who will be joining us at 20 past 3. And then at 5 o'clock, it is bonding session. And our co-host today is Penny Lebiani. Yeah!
Oh, yay! She's going to walk up from the ground floor.
Yeah, like, hey, what's up, colleague? What's up, colleague? And the topic is dating younger.
Is she dating younger? I'll listen on the radio.
Listen on the radio.
Oh.
Would you date younger?
No, I would not.
Okay.
You see how fast I said that? I didn't even have to think about it.
You're clear.
Yeah, I get this question all the time. I'm very clear. I think there's a sense of maturity that I require from my partner.
Yeah.
And so I tend to date between, it's been like between 7 to 10 years older.
Yeah.
My current partner, though, is only 3 years older than me, but he's older.
Maruna level of maturity.
Yeah, he's older. Look, I'm in my 40s.
So there's a young one there who perhaps have that level of maturity as well.
Likes to throw maps mapunyana my way. But he's
Is
got a
it?
sense of there's a level head on him. If you've ever sat in conversation with that young man, you know he's solid.
Yeah.
So I'm like, at least you're throwing a solid young person. You know?
So you would say yes to a man.
Why are we having this conversation on air? We are a serious radio station, Aldrin Cynthia. Aldrin Cynthia is coming up between 3 and 6 on Beyond the Headline.
It's the celebration of the century, and you're invited. We've already given away almost 3 million rand with 56 daily vouchers won. Buy a new Ford before 31 December, and you could win a 50,000 rand voucher or the grand prize of us paying for your new Ford. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. TNCs apply.
Brighton and Hove Albion are going all out to brighten their clash against Burnley FC with maximum points.
A dinger again, that was a masterpiece.
However, Burnley FC will display a sense of urgency to move up from the relegation zone.
Ariola has scored! Down the middle! Burnley lead! Shane Rodriguez!
Who will have a great day on the field of play? The Seagulls or the Clarets? This is the Premier League. Catch the exciting clash between Brighton and Hove Albion and Burnley FC on Saturday, 9 December at 4 p.m. live on S3. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Hashtag we love it here. Brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Bridget Masinga on SAFM.
We are in conversation for full access this afternoon with actress and voiceover artist Abina Ayevu is joining us to catch up on her life and the things that she's been up to. She's got a brand new project on Netflix, Classified. It's a local series, in fact, and it's a wonderful one. So if you want to binge something, that could be something for you to do over the festive season. Abina, let's rewind back to, young Abina. And when did you discover, or when did you realize that not only did you have a talent for inhibiting particular characters, and that you actually wanted to do this for a living?
I think it started with books, to be honest, reading. My dad was an English lecturer and used to force us to read books. We had to read a book a week and write a summary for him. But for me, I enjoyed it. My brother didn't. Sometimes I'd read his book too and tell him what happened. But what I found with books was you got to travel, right? As a little girl growing up in a small town in Butterworth in the Eastern Cape, I felt like I traveled the world through my books. And then movies was just an extension of that. I was always very imaginative. Like I could sit and daydream and keep myself company for hours. I didn't need people around I could create my own world in my head. That I always knew. And then I remember doing a play when I was about 13. I was like the rose seller on Oliver Twist. It was like a small part. But I just remember that feeling on stage. I couldn't describe it, but I just knew that I belonged there. I knew I belonged there, and I didn't ever perform again, actually, until I went to drama school, like at 22.
Oh.
Because I went to UCT first, and I was trying to do a BA law and trying to do what the parents want. And then you realize I can't force myself to do things I don't want to do, right? And I went to audition for drama school, and I got in. But it wasn't that it was a feeling. But it wasn't that I knew I was talented. It was just this feeling that wouldn't go away. But I needed someone to say, which happened to be my drama teacher at the time, God rest her soul, Lisa Bokoman. I feel like she's a guardian angel. And she literally was like, you belong here. You belong here. And that was the first person who told me, I think you can make a go at this, So it hasn't always been easy. I mean, this industry, right? Being on a soap opera is all very well. And then when you move away and you realize the real hustle of being a freelance actor. So there've been highs and lows, but I wouldn't change anything, I always say to people, being an actor is like the priesthood. It's a calling. It's a calling. And when you feel it, you've got to honor the call. You've got to heed that call and go through all the bumps and ups and downs it comes with. And wait and trust that at the lowest of the low, things are going to get better. Absolutely. And they always do,
Absolutely.
And it makes everything worth it.
Let me ask you this. Has there been, I mean, as you talk about the highs and lows of being an actor, I think that sometimes that people don't understand, particularly in the South African context, and maybe even globally, I don't know, but in SA, where at times there can be a scarcity of work and a scarcity of good work, the option for an actor to leave or make the decision to start exiting an almost sure thing like a soapy, where it's a long run, there's security, you can plan your life, but to exit because you want the growth and you want the challenge, you want the ability to do different things. That's something that I think a lot of actors don't talk about. Just having to make that decision, you're almost taking a calculated gamble.
But how calculated, right? Because there's no guarantee. It's almost, I feel like it's jumping off a cliff and hoping you get, that your parachute opens. I mean, people want different things. I mean, as you work with different people, you realize people are in the industry for different reasons. Some people are in it for fame. Some people still want that sense of security. For some people, all they ever wanted to do was be on a soapy. And that was all they ever wanted, and they didn't see beyond that. And we all have different dreams,
Yeah.
And each one is to be respected, But I quickly realized fame was not really what I was looking for. It was more important for me to have the right people know what I was doing and move me up, but I didn't need everyone to know who I was. And I especially felt that when I left soapies, then I started writing. Like, I started writing about 10 years ago as well, So being behind the scenes, and I felt like I got my anonymity back for a while. I really have cherished it. And, but acting is my first love, and I've missed it. And I made the decision about 2 years ago that, okay, I've been pretty much writing almost full time with a performance here and there, and I want to get back to my first love. Especially when you meet people and they're like, do you still act? Where are you? Do you even live here? But like back to what you were saying about taking that gamble, like I felt like I needed a backup to keep me going so that I could chase those dreams, those elusive dreams, of trying to work more, do more international work. And script writing became that for me, so I could at least be more picky about the acting projects I choose, because I knew writing is paying my bills.
Yeah. It's been such a pleasure being in conversation with you this afternoon. We really do appreciate the time. And I think just as a final quick sneak in our last minute, any regrets? Because, here we are. We've had this incredible career, but you were in your third year of law school at UCT. You were almost done when you decided, nah.
No regrets. Oh, no, it wasn't my third year of law school. Let's clarify. It was of my BA before going on to do the LLB. I never got that far. No, zero regrets. I was miserable. I hated it. All I did was hang out with friends who were doing drama and being, what are you guys doing? So zero regrets. Like, life plays out the way it's supposed to, and I'm in a very good place. There are a few more projects coming out in the next few months. A Christmas movie as well coming up in the next week or so on DSTV. So I'm feeling really good. Like, I've got a good balance of the writing and the acting, and no regrets.
Love to hear it. That was Abina Ayevu, actress and a voice-over artist. As you've heard, she's going to be on your screens throughout this festive season with a brand new project coming out on DSTV, and of course a locally produced series produced by Kagiso Lidiga, and his production company is already out and doing quite well on the streaming service. From myself and my team, thank you so much for choosing to be in conversation with us this entire week, and to all our guests who've joined me today, we much appreciate it. If you missed out on our live streams, you can always continue with Aldrin St. Pierre and his Inshallah, God willing, we get to do it again.
Nderini ngabe desire ni jarabi ma feganyalo ni nderini ngabe disa nikanu I want to know.
Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
Outsurance will go out of their way to try and save you money on your car insurance if they can't ask for 500 Rand. SMS out to 38462. Now that's good news.
The 16 Days of Activism for No Violence Against Women and Children campaign. This year, be an activist. Play your part. Do not protect abusers. Report them. Hashtag no to GBVF.
SAFM leading the conversation. Independent and impartial. This is SAFM News.
Top stories at 3. Some employees held against their will, according to Gold One Mine, and UN Security Council to vote on an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Good afternoon, I'm Eva Chipa. Gold One Mine says it has received information that some employees are being held underground against their will. Over 400 workers remained underground at the Gold One Mine in Spring on Gauteng's East Rand since last night. Ziad Hassam, head of legal at Gold One Mine, says investigations are underway to determine the motive of the sit-in.
Early last night, shortly after commencement of the night shift, it became apparent that the employees who were underground were not going to come out. There's a small group of people in balaclavas, so we don't know their identity, but they are holding the rest of the employees against their will. Some obviously will be sitting in solidarity, but a large number, we told, are being held against their will. And 2 employees managed to escape in the early hours of this morning, and they've described the scene underground, and they've confirmed that people are being held against their will.
Meanwhile, in another mining situation, disgruntled workers at Bakobong Platinum Mine in the northwest say the Department of Mineral Resources and Energy has failed to act on their pleas for an intervention in the ongoing underground sit-in. More than 200 mine workers are now on day 3 of their protest. One of the mine workers, Mbuisa Kabule, says they have made several attempts to get the department to intervene with no success.
So we went to the DRR, we even got a letter stating our cases, because we asked them that if they care about the situation that is happening around the mine now. So we are still waiting for the response from the DMR, because we asked them, we wanted an inspector to come and see if our fellow workers are safe or what. So up to so far, there's no response. The condition is that the ventilation is less underground. So we have fear of our brothers and sisters and our fellow workers that are working there.
Water Institute of Southern Africa, WISA, has advised South Africans to read the Blue Drop report and contact their municipalities to ascertain the quality of water they are receiving from the municipality. The National Department of Water and Sanitation this week released the report which assessed the state of all drinking water systems throughout the country. One of the main findings of the report was that 46% of water quality tests carried out by municipalities between 2021 and 2022 ranked poor in the microbiological water quality compliance. WISA Director Aisha Laher explains.
If you live in a big city or metro or wherever you